takes an interesting turn tonight after being widely assumed that Sanchez's brother Michael was the source of the leak to the National Enquirer. My next guest has new reporting that suggests that Bezos' girlfriend shared intimate details of their relationship with several of her friends and even had the contents of her computer downloaded onto an assistant's computer for safekeeping. So who's to blame? The Circle Y is joining me now, Media Buzz host Howard Kurtz. Howie, good to see you tonight. Thank you for being here. So she shared some of these messages with her friends, and her assistant had access to almost everything on her computer.
Right, and this is a bit of a game changer because the source close to the couple confirms that to me. The investigators for Bezos know this to be true. It pretty well knocks down the theory that somebody's phone was hacked before the leak of the salacious material to the National Enquirer. And it also means that in this high-stakes whodunit, how did the supermarket tablet get a hold of this stuff? And at a time when Bezos is accusing the Enquirer of blackmail and the tabloid denying it, we have a different playing field here because a number of people could have been responsible for that leak.
AMI has to keep their nose clean because of the agreement that they entered into with the federal government over the whole Trump issue. And the two women that were paid off to silence their stories, are they in more trouble because of this development or what?
Well, it depends on exactly how American media, the parent company, the Enquirer, got a hold of this stuff. If there's no hacking involved, then probably it was done lawfully. The question of blackmail or extortion, as Bezos charges, is a separate situation. But by the way, the notion that Lauren Sanchez's brother, Michael Sanchez, the Hollywood talent manager, was somehow responsible for this, it didn't just sort of bubble up out of nowhere. The sources at AMI and even the lawyer for David Pecker, the Enquirer owner, who's a close friend of President Trump, have kind of tried to finger him. But Michael Sanchez told me on the record that there are, in fact, multiple suspects, and he's never seen any of the salacious pictures or texts, and that, in fact, any attempt to implicate him in this is 100% false.
So the other part of this story that's been swirling around is that he has friends in the Trump circle, and that perhaps he was using this story against Jeff Bezos because President Trump and Jeff Bezos aren't exactly the best of friends, to nail him through the National Enquirer.
Yeah, could this get any weirder, even if it were a movie? So Michael Sanchez is a Trump supporter. He is friendly with both Carter Page and Roger Stone, two of the people who've been caught up in the Mueller investigation. Stone, of course, pleading not guilty to criminal charges. But what Sanchez maintains, and what I'm told, is that he communicated with both of them for advice on security after the Enquirer leak, not some crazy conspiracy theory that Stone and Page were somehow involved in the Enquirer leak. And even I've seen correspondence, Martha, suggesting that Michael Sanchez tried to set up a meeting in a secure location, maybe even aboard a plane, between Carter Page, Jeff Bezos himself, and Bezos' top security guy. That never materialized, but it does show you how many subplots there are here, as now federal prosecutors are going to have to determine, in part because of that immunity deal you mentioned, just who did what to whom.
Yeah, not to mention the obvious, which is don't share text messages with several people, including assistants, when you're in the middle of this kind of situation. Howie, thank you.
Not in this digital world.
Thank you very much, Howie. See you next time. That is the story on this Tuesday night. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Tucker Carlson's coming up next.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight we have news for you, breaking news that for whatever reason is being downplayed or ignored by other media outlets, but we think you want to know about it. 5 simple words describe it. There was no Russian collusion. There's no evidence whatsoever that the Trump campaign conspired in any way with the government of Vladimir Putin during the last presidential election, period. That's apparently the conclusion of the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee. That committee spent 2 years investigating this question. Of course, hundreds of interviews, reams of classified documents, untold millions in taxpayer dollars. No collusion at all. That is what we are hearing tonight they have found. Now, if you've been following the story at all, and of course you have been, you will not be surprised by this. No Russian collusion is a lot like moon landing actually happened, or abominable snowman was probably a long-haired mountain goat. You knew that already because you're not an idiot. But if so, compare your mental acuity to that of prominent political figures figures here in Washington. Next time you feel dumb, watch this tape.
I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy in plain sight.
Trump has the Kremlin clan surrounding him. There's more to be learned about it. I believe there's been collusion. It's starting to smell more and more like collusion.
We saw cold, hard evidence of the Trump campaign, indeed the Trump family, eagerly intending to collude possibly with Russia.
Smells like collusion. Plenty of evidence of collusion. Hard evidence of collusion. In the end, it was all fake. And they knew that. They knew it wasn't real. They were lying from the very first day. Only their remarkable aggression and willingness to say literally anything, no matter how outrageous or slanderous or vile, kept the rest of us from catching on to what they were doing. If the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee is willing to call someone a traitor to this country, there's got to be some truth to it, right? Actually, no, there wasn't. It was always a hoax. Adam Schiff is an unscrupulous charlatan. That's the real lesson here. Don't expect people like Schiff to apologize, though, or correct the record, much less repair the lives of the people they have destroyed. Carter Page still can't find the job. Roger Stone is still facing life in prison. Meanwhile, Schiff's PR team on the other channel continues like none of this ever happened. Here's Malcolm Nance of MSNBC explaining the results of a 2-year Senate investigation mean nothing. People are guilty because we say they're guilty. We must punish them.
Let me just say one thing. When Benedict Arnold gave the plans to West Point to Major Andre, and they captured Major Andre, they did not have any real information linking those plans to Benedict Arnold, other than the fact that he was in his presence at one point during that day. But everyone knew it was treason when they caught the man and they hung him. So at some point, there is going to be a bridge of data here that is going to be unassailable.
No one had any evidence, but everyone knew it was treason when they caught the man and they hung him. That says it all. Let's repeat that once again slowly so you can write down those words and put them on your fridge as a memento of the terrifying mass hysteria we've all just lived through. Quote, everyone knew it was treason when they caught the man and they hung him. That's our country now. That's what the Russia insanity has done to us. The real government shutdown has lasted for nearly 2.5 years. That's 1% of this country's entire existence. We no longer have meaningful policy debates in Washington. We have investigations instead. Nobody can think clearly. Everybody's afraid. The country's core problems don't even rate as interesting anymore, either to legislators or the TV pundits who comment on legislators. The suicide rate is at a 50-year high. Did you know that? We're in the middle of the worst drug epidemic in the history of America, including the one after the Civil War and the heroin epidemic of the 70s and the crack epidemic of the 80s. This is way worse. And it's one of the reasons the life expectancy in many parts of the country is dropping. This is starting to look like Boris Yeltsin's Russia. And yet nobody in Washington even notices. All Adam Schiff and the rest of the wild-eyed morons can think about is Vladimir Putin, collusion, or democracy, and all the other mindless slogans they've repeated long enough to have to believe. We've spent 2 years perpetuating a fraud, and they are still doing it. What is this? It's negligence on a stunning scale. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has everything to do with running this country, and they're not. Historians will look back on this moment in amazement and in sadness. Who put these crackpots in charge and let them break things? Why didn't any responsible person in the media say anything about it? Why did they collude in the charade? What the hell happened to America? History will judge us for this moment. Adam Schiff's grandkids will be ashamed of what he did. Molly Hemingway is the senior editor of The Federalist, and she joins us tonight. Sorry to get all huffy there. It's just, you have to think that if a story breaks that the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which has spent 2 years looking into this, says there's no evidence of collusion, but that's got to be front page news, and that's got to spur some sort of soul searching on the part of everyone who's been repeating a lie. But no,
every day or every couple of days for 2 years, we've had this Russia collusion conspiracy spread and pushed by compliant people in the media. No matter how small an item was, it was pushed as evidence of some grand conspiracy. Then you have the Senate Intel Committee coming out and saying what the House Intel Committee already said. There's no evidence of collusion. There's no evidence of this thing that sidelined an incoming administration, that completely took the Attorney General out of commission until he was finally let go. That, you had just all of this hysteria, and we're not even going to cover it, we're not going to mention it after pushing this story for several years. It's one thing for Democrats to push this. It's entirely another for people in the media to be so much going on with it. It's also something where we still aren't dealing with the fact that the intel community completely took in this information operation that was bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. And they used this information to spy on a presidential campaign, to punish people for the crime of having not wanted Hillary Clinton elected president, or to put people in prison because they had the wrong political alliances. This is so deeply un-American. We are not supposed to do things this way.
No, we're not supposed to accuse people on the basis of no evidence. And by the way, just to be clear, I'm not talking about Trump. I think there's a higher bar for the president. People say all kinds of reckless things about the president. It's the weaker people who got crushed in this, people like Carter Page. I personally called him Russian agent by the now chairman of the House Intelligence Committee because I asked a question he didn't like. My question is, because we knew pretty quickly that this was fraudulent, that there really wasn't any evidence at the basis of it, and that people had no interest in finding out the truth, why did so many Republicans play along?
That's another thing. It is one thing, like I said, for Democrats to do something like this. What have Republicans been saying for the last couple of years other than, oh, we just have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait while the business of government doesn't happen because of this investigation?
Yeah, the one thing we can't do is fire Robert Mueller.
Yeah.
Because actually our constitutional system doesn't really acknowledge democracy. We can have someone who literally can't be fired in the middle of a Democratic Republic. How does that work? Republicans push that.
Someone who's literally unaccountable, who nothing can be done to, who has all the powers of the CIA and all the powers of the FBI. And Republicans sat there and said, there's nothing we can do about this.
So why would anyone vote for people like that? I mean, seriously, right? So if you have one side that's perpetuating what is a transparent fraud and causing the wheels of government to grind to a halt, and things like a rising suicide rate to go unacknowledged because no one has the disk space left to think about anything but Russia, if you're playing along with that, why would Republican voters vote for you?
Right. I think it's one of the sad things about the current moment that many people who are in positions of power who are Republican fear the media, or they fear their peer group more than they care about upholding rule of law, or they care about having a functioning republic.
Their minds are not free. They spend all day trying to avoid being criticized by people who hate them for reasons that are not even related. And literally, they are ruled by their enemies. Their enemies live in their heads. They control all of their behavior.
But they have a responsibility to Americans. They serve in these positions of power because we expect them to have to take their leadership and their role very seriously. It doesn't sound like they take this seriously, and to not have been asking the important questions about this as things just went crazy for year after year, and then to pretend now what everyone's doing is pretending like they didn't do it. They're all trying to pretend like they didn't push this Russia conspiracy theory as it starts to fall apart.
I think, yeah, I agree. Thank you, Molly. Great to see you. Julian Epstein is a former chief counsel of the House Judiciary Committee, and he joins us. Julian, in addition to everything I've just been ranting about, I try not to rant. I'm not a ranter by temperament, but I spent the first 3 months trying to take this seriously, okay? And it's not serious, clearly. But we have just completely changed our relationship as a nation with Russia, declared them an enemy, and moved toward war with them on the basis of a story that's fraudulent.
I think that's overstating it, but I am sympathetic to the notion that the problem with our politics is that both sides and the media line with both sides tends to get out in front of the facts.
Yeah.
Here. Now, I think collusion is a bad word, because collusion is not a legal word. I mean, you and I sitting here, we're colluding for a television show. It doesn't mean anything. The question is a conspiracy to violate the criminal laws. There's no question in anybody's mind that the Russians violated criminal laws on election interference, the computer hacks and the illegal foreign expenditures. There's no question that those were criminal violations. The question has always been whether Trump or those around him conspired with the Russians on those two criminal actions. And I've said on this program before, I've said all year that there's no evidence of that.
But then what's hard for me is that, look, there are always going to be fringes that are on both parties. You pointed that out, and I agree with you. So I'm one of the few people, I'm not always jumping on that anymore because I don't think she's a serious person, actually. She's an outlier. I think the chairman of the House Intel Committee is. I think the Speaker of the House is. Those are serious leaders of the Democratic Party, and both of them, you just saw the tape they played, accuse the president and those around his family of collusion, a non-crime. How irresponsible is that?
So there's a political Rorschach test that's going on here right now. Both sides see it very differently. And what the Republicans see, and I understand why they see it this way, is what I just said. There's no evidence that Trump or anyone close around him conspired with the Russians to either hack computers or accept illegal foreign expenditures in the election interference in 2016. That's true. On the other hand, the Democratic point of view is, well, there were over 100 contacts with Russians during the campaign. Everyone that's been asked about has repeatedly lied about those contacts. There were discussions about policy changes to favor the Republicans during the campaign. There was a request from Donald Trump Jr. and others to get dirt on the Clintons. There was a direction from the campaign to find out what the dump was going to be from WikiLeaks. So there's kind of a lot of circumstantial stuff on the other side.
And I think where Oswald was in Mexico City before the assassination. Where in the Mexicans did?
Where we ought to be, if we want to find common ground, it's where we ought to be. And I think the Washington Post told us today is that Mueller